Welcome to Off the Record, a legal podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome into an all-new episode of Off the Record with Rhett Burney. I'm your host, Mike Leon. Rhett is a family law and estate planning attorney based out in Greenville County out in South Carolina, where he's helped families navigate divorce, custody, and future planning matters for more than 30 years. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about how charitable giving gifts into estate planning, how you can do this, and the way South Carolinians can support causes they care about while still protecting their families and their financial goals. Rhett, it's good to see you as always. Let me ask you, for someone that maybe is listening to this right now, they're sitting down, they're planning their estate. What makes charitable giving worth considering in the first place?
Great. Thanks, Mike, for having me. There's a lot of money out there to be given away when somebody dies, potentially. And, there's a benefit. It's kind of a win-win for both the charity and for the person who passes away estate for tax purposes. And, when we sit down and we start talking to clients who want to give part of their estate, not just to their family, but some type of charity, one of the things we talk about is just, the different benefits. It could be a tax benefit. It just could be that good feeling that they have, knowing that charity that they are giving money to is going to benefit. And, they develop a legacy as well, even after their death. So, there's so many there are more advantages to charitable giving through estate planning than any of the negatives that we find sometimes in other types of estate planning.
Yeah. I want to get into the taxes in a second, but what are some ways that you've seen people include maybe a charity or even a church in their plan? Is through a will, a trust, another method out there?
Yeah. Some people just give straight out during the year while they're alive for tax purposes. Of course, you get a write off for that. But some people want to be able to control it after their death because they need money while they're alive. And rather than getting rid of a substantial amount while they're alive, they don't want to take that chance of running out of money. So what we do with the estate planning is we go ahead and structure something so that after they pass away, we can see that, at that point in time, we know what they have left to give away. We go ahead and start making those types of donations to the charitable trust after their death.
Rhett, can you share some examples in your experience where the decisions of a well thought out plan helps you between balancing giving and providing for your loved ones? Do you have any client examples you can share?
Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned before, people like to give to charities, but they don't know how much to give during a certain year, so they will plan for the future, knowing that once they pass away, they're going to have an estate. They'll give a percentage of their estate assets to that charity, while also being able to have some of their estate assets to give to their loved ones. If you go ahead and give a lot of money away to a charity while you're alive, you may not have money when you pass away, or not a lot of money, depending on how much you give during your life. And I've seen that happen before. I've had clients where their parents were very, very charitable, very, very nice during their lives, and they gave away too much money. So at the end of their life, and they're going through the different bequests that their parents had made to these various charities, there were still some bequests that had not yet been fulfilled. So they were having to try to figure out how to come up with the assets in order to take care of some of the obligations that their parents had already made to these charities. And it was great, I'm sure, to the person who was giving the money away. But in the end, there was not enough money to go around. So, that's why we have to look at it really carefully to make sure that they're not, I don't want to say overgiving, but that there's enough at the end to make sure that their obligations are carried out. Plus, when you tell a charity that you're going to give them money when you pass away or even during your life, they budget on that sometimes, or at least a portion of their budgets are looking at what they're anticipating giving in. You've probably been part of a giving drive or a pledge drive or something like that from a charity. Well, when you make those pledges, that is what they use to determine what they're going to spend the next year. And if you don't adequately, take care of your own assets for that time, well, you're going to have that charity, they're going to over budget or under budget, depending upon what their situation is. So you've got to be a little bit careful It's great. It's great to give things away, but you've got to make sure you do that responsibly.
Yeah. I'm having that right now with my alma mater, Rutgers, that you see over my shoulder. So, Ray, let me ask you though on that front. I want to drill into the specifics. How do you help the clients then decide how much they can comfortably give without putting their family's future at risk? Is there a formula that you come up with? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, I often just tell them to look at it from a percentage standpoint, right? A percentage of zero is zero. So if they don't have anything when they pass away, that's easily determined. Likewise, if they give 25% of whatever they have left over to a charity, there will be something there. Because if you get into dollar amounts, those are great, but it's very difficult to determine how many dollars you will have left at the end of your life because no one can tell the future. You don't know how long you're going to live. What are your expenses going to be during that lifespan? So I always talk to clients in percentages just because it's easier to plan for.
Let me ask you, we talked about the tax earlier. Some people worry that these charitable gifts are going to cause tax problems, maybe reduce what their heirs will receive. How do you explain the reality behind those concerns?
Yeah, they usually cause tax benefits, and of course, everybody has a different situation depending upon what their assets look like, how much they have. So when you start talking about giving away to charity, there are tax benefits to that. A lot of times we'll just set up a charitable remainder trust in order to go ahead and put those assets that will be, roll them over from their regular trust to that charitable trust upon their death. So those assets are there. So there are more positives from a tax standpoint than there are negatives.
Right. Let me ask you, when someone's named a charity in a will or trust, what are some of the small, maybe minor details that are missed that tend to cause problems if they're not handled correctly?
Yeah, the main thing is properly identifying the charity. For instance, you can say the Humane Society. Well, that's great, but which one? Is it the local one? Is it the state one? Is it the national one? And then not having a backup to, so let's say that particular charity that you've chosen is no longer around. Where does that money go? Do we have some type of provision within the estate planning documents to account for those charities who are no longer around? So we have to make sure the wording's right. We have to make sure the identification's right. It's wonderful if they give us addresses for these charities, but be as specific as possible with the name, because you may have a charity may go by one name, but their actual name may be different. Or sometimes you have charities that have charities within charities. And so you want to make sure that you have the specific name and call the charity. They'll tell you how it needs to be worded. We love that. We don't want to have to hunt that down as the lawyer, the exact name when the person can do it, because I guarantee if you go to Rutgers, they have various foundations within Rutgers that you may want to give to, and those that you don't want to give to. And if you just give a general bequest to Rutgers University, your money may be used to just the general fund to pay light bills or something, when you really wanted it to go to some type of educational or sports foundation within there. So it's always great to be specific.
Yeah. You're right about that. I do want it to go to a specific place. Right. Let me ask you, as we land the plane here on this episode, looking back at your experience of doing all of this, what do you think about the charitable giving aspect, what it says about the kind of legacy that person potentially wants to leave behind?
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to be able to give a charity money, right? Lots of them only exist because of the donations that they receive. And if you have something that's really dear to your heart, charity that does something that you can't do yourself, but they do it, so give them the money, give them the real estate, give them the property after you're gone to help them continue what you enjoyed while you were here. So is it a legacy? Absolutely. It's a great legacy. So they say you can't take it with you. So why not let somebody else use it after you're here, after you're gone, and you can't use it anymore.
Yep. Can't take it with you. Rhett, I thank you so much for the time and insights. Truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
And that's it for today's episode of Off the Record with Rhett Burney. If you'd like to learn more about what Rhett and his team is doing to help families across upstate South Carolina, do me a favor, visit rhettburney.com today. Thank you to everyone for listening to this episode. But don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a review and comment, or share it with someone who needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.